Eamonn Holmes pays tribute as radio legend James Whale dies at 74 after 5-year cancer battle. The well-known broadcaster and journalist pioneered talk radio. GB News presenter Eamonn Holmes has paid tribute to his friend James Whale, the well-known broadcaster and journalist, who has died aged 74 following a brave battle with cancer. The former celebrity Big Brother star had been diagnosed with kidney cancer in 2000. At the time, the broadcasting star had one of his kidneys removed due to a cancerous tumor on it. However, after feeling unwell for about a year, the radio DJ visited a doctor and was given the news that cancer had returned in August 2020. Whale had been diagnosed with stage 4 kidney cancer that spread to his brain, spine and lungs. He was recently told he had just weeks to live. Posting a photo of his friend alongside wife Nadine on Instagram on Monday night, Eamonn wrote, "He was my friend since 1986, she was a gift from God to him. This is James Whale's wife Nadine. His pain is now gone. For poor Nadine it is just beginning. Nadine, no one could have done more for him. Thank you." The Talk TV host told his fans in May that he had stopped treatment because he was at the end of his cancer journey. His wife, Nadine, confirmed that James died earlier today. James slipped away very gently this morning. It was a beautiful passing, and he left with a smile on his face. In a statement shared on social media, Talk TV said, "We are sad to announce that James Whale MBE died earlier today, aged 74, following a lengthy battle with cancer. As a broadcasting legend for over 50 years, James will be missed by so many at Talk and the wider News UK family." In his final newspaper column, which was released just one day before his death, James said, "What surprised me most is how much better in myself I feel since finally moving into a hospice near my home in Kent a week or so back. I began to feel better immediately. More positive. I feel at peace here, even though I'm not a religious person." He went on to write for the Daily Express, "I know I've reached the end of my life, but I'm quite sanguine about it. Despite everything, I'm happy to go now, and a lot of that is due to the people who work here, because they make dying as peaceful and pain-free as possible." The tragic news comes just hours after James's pal, Eamonn Holmes, shared a heartbreaking update, confirming he was at the end of his journey. Speaking earlier today on GB News, Eamonn said, "A friend of ours, James Whale, who I have been to see, is nearing the end of his life, maybe this week." Christopher Biggins, who was appearing on the show, said that the pair had visited James at his hospice over the weekend. He commented, "We went on Saturday to see him, and he looks terrific, I have to say, and it was great to see him, but it's his voice that's the trouble." The irony of being a journalist and using his voice on the radio brilliantly over the years, but now his voice is going. Christopher added, "What was so wonderful is the hospice that he's staying in, which I think needs something like £12 million a year or something to survive. It was just wonderful. The nurses were phenomenal, so he's being looked after royally, and I think that keeps him going, funnily enough. And he has a wonderful room with a view of trees and wonderful squirrels coming in to see him." James recently said he was struggling to breathe, think and talk, as he entered week 7 of his 12-week prognosis just a matter of weeks ago. The host had remained committed in sharing updates with his fans as he carried on his podcast, Tales of the Whales, alongside his wife Nadine. A touching clip from the columnist's last podcast was recently shared on Talk TV, with the journalist summoning the strength to say to his wife Nadine, "We've had a good time together, haven't we?" A supportive Nadine, who was next to him while the episode was being recorded, replied, "The best," before James whispered the words, "I love you," to her. Clearly emotional, Nadine said, "I love you too. Shall we sign off on the podcast now?" Before his death, James reflected on his career, saying, "In 52 years of broadcasting you'd have thought I'd have run out of things to say, but I haven't. I'll really miss my listeners. I've been very lucky to have had such a great time doing what I loved." Meanwhile, his wife, Nadine, said earlier this year, "I'd rather have had these 5 years with James, and the journey with the cancer, than not met him." Last year, James was awarded an MBE for services to broadcasting and charity. Upon collecting his honor, he said, "Talking about this stuff helped me enormously. A lot of people think the last thing they can talk to you about is the fact you have cancer. I found it easy. All of this feels very unfair, especially to Nadine, but we've had 5 wonderful years together." James was put on steroids following his diagnosis to treat his stage 4 cancer. But in June, he revealed he had come to the end of his treatment. Speaking at the TRIC Awards in 2023, which he attended with his second wife Nadine Lamont Brown, James told the Mirror, "I'm kind of at the end of my treatment." But with trademark humor, he added, "When I lose a lot more weight when I get really ill, I'll look fantastic. I've just come off all the steroids I was on, which made me look like a bloody balloon. I'm feeling better from that." James's wife Nadine also explained, "He's had all the possible treatments, he's on a clinical trial, but we're probably going to be winding up on that quite soon. It's stopped working." James added, "The cancer gets into your head and sometimes you can't stand noise. At the moment, I have got cancer fatigue, which makes you very tired. Some days I might feel sorry for myself. I feel sorry for my wife really. It's more difficult for her." In November 2022, James told the British Curie Awards he won't be here in a year's time. Addressing the audience at the ceremony, he said, "I know a lot of you won't like me, but this time next year I won't be here. I have terminal cancer. As you might be able to hear, I am having chemotherapy which makes it harder for me to breathe, but I'm okay. Don't worry. I am in my 70s now and I just want to say don't waste your time on stupid things that don't matter," he said. 25 years later I've got it again. I'm 71 and I've had a great life." James previously admitted that he thought about ending his life by euthanasia. The talk radio star lamented the thought, "Might as well go and get it over with," crossed his mind at first. He told The Sun, "I came home, had a little think about things. I decided I'm just booking myself a trip to Dignitas. You might as well just go and get it over with. I'd looked into it quite some time ago because Melinda died 2 years ago and it's been something in the back of my mind," he said of his first wife Melinda, who died from lung cancer age 68 in 2018. James and Melinda were married for 48 years and shared 2 sons. He continued, "This little b*********** D has spread. It's in my remaining kidney. I've got a couple of small lesions in my lungs. I've got it in my spine. I've got it in my brain." James rocketed to fame in the 1980s when he established himself as the host of the James Whale radio show in Leeds. The radio presenter was a big name on TalkSport for over 13 years and was a huge player in catapulting the station into unwavering success. Later, he starred in Celebrity Big Brother in 2016 where he was regarded as one of the show's favorite personalities. B is your home for all things lifestyle, from health and beauty, to work life and parenting, careers and cooking to fashion and features, and everything in between. So to make sure you don't miss out on the things that matter to you, we've created a brand new newsletter pulling the best of B's content together twice a week. To sign up, simply enter your email address here and we'll do the rest. A load of bunk. Eamonn Holmes fumes at Labour as taxpayers pick up £100 million tab for new, smash the gangs, effort. Labour's efforts to tackle the migrant crisis have centred around smashing the gangs. GB News star Eamonn Holmes has launched a scathing attack on the government's latest £100 million investment to combat people smuggling operations, dismissing the funding as a load of bunk during his GB News program. His criticism comes after it was revealed more than 25,000 migrants have already crossed the channel in small boats this year, the fastest rate ever recorded for this point in the calendar. Why are we wasting £100 million on this? Eamonn questioned on air, expressing frustration at what he perceives as ineffective spending. Redrop, who previously worked in Number 10 during the development of the Rwanda scheme, acknowledged the Conservatives' own struggles with immigration policy but emphasized that the situation has deteriorated further under Labour. Things have got worse and this is a joke. It's a bizarre joke, Redrop stated, suggesting that the current administration has already given up on addressing the crisis merely 1 year into their term. The Home Office has unveiled plans to allocate the £100 million towards recruiting up to 300 additional National Crime Agency personnel and acquiring advanced detection technology to target smuggling networks. Latest developments. Poll. After a weekend of anti-migrant protests, should we declare a national emergency at our borders? GMB fury at ludicrous, small boats debate as Balls quizzes Home Office MP, his wife's policies. Yvette Cooper's fast-track asylum plan revealed as migrants will have appeals heard in weeks. Home Secretary Yvette Cooper defended the investment, stating it would turbocharge the ability of our law enforcement agencies to track the gangs and bring them down, whilst working with international partners. The funding will also support a new pilot program with France, enabling the UK to return some migrants across the Channel whilst accepting an equivalent number of asylum seekers with British connections. Shadow Home Secretary Chris Philp dismissed the announcement as a Labour gimmick that would make no real difference to border security. They have no serious plan, just excuses, while ruthless criminal gangs flood our borders with illegal immigrants, Philp argued. Redrop suggested that whichever political party successfully addresses the immigration crisis would secure victory at the next general election, identifying it as Vota's primary concern. Labour, if you solve this mission, you can win the next election, he told GB News, whilst expressing doubt about their commitment to finding solutions. Eamonn questioned whether government ministers genuinely comprehend the complexity of the situation, particularly regarding France's role in the crisis. What if they don't know they've given up? What if they don't know there's no incentive in France to solve this? The presenter asked, suggesting such ignorance would be more troubling than deliberate inaction. That would annoy me more. It would worry me more, if they don't have the wit to realize there's no chance of this working, Eamonn added. Redrop characterized the £100 million as a small amount of money, being channeled into measures that are clearly not working, reinforcing his view that the government lacks both the strategy and determination to tackle the escalating crisis effectively.